So you're thinking about making a move in the Toronto real estate market, maybe sometime around 2026. And if you are, you're probably feeling pulled in a million different directions by all the news out there. Well, that's exactly what we're here to do. Cut through all that noise and give you a really clear way to think about what's coming. Let's dive in.
I mean, it is a confusing time, right? One headline screams economic slowdown, the next is all about the AI revolution changing, well, everything. And house prices? It feels like they're a roller coaster. So when you're trying to make one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, how on earth do you find your footing in all this fog?
All right, let's start clearing away some of that fog. We're going to build a framework, piece by piece, to help you make sense of it all. And here's our game plan. We'll start with the big picture stuff, the economic forces across all of North America. Then we're going to tackle the big wild card everyone's talking about, AI. After that, we'll bring it right back home and look at the hard data on the ground here in Toronto. And finally, we'll pull it all together into a strategic outlook you can actually use.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the big picture. You have to remember Toronto's real estate market doesn't exist in a bubble. Not at all. It is deeply connected to what's happening across the entire continent.
You know, this comment from a Reddit user just hits the nail on the head. It's a fundamental truth. When the U.S. economy sneezes, we feel it up here. You just can't separate the two.
And the main rulebook for that relationship is CUSMA, the big trade deal that replaced NAFTA. You can think of it as the blueprint for how billions of dollars flow back and forth, and it shapes the very industries that employ the people buying and selling homes right here in our city.
And the stability this deal provides has been massive. I mean, look at this, a four-fold increase in exports to the U.S. since free trade really got going. It's not all sunshine and roses, of course. There are new rules, especially for our huge auto sector, that forced us to adapt. But overall, this trade relationship is the bedrock of our economy.
And this isn't just a federal thing happening far away in Ottawa. When the U.S. puts up tariffs, it has a direct impact right here. The City of Toronto actually has to create its own economic action plans and campaigns to support local businesses. It shows you how these huge forces trickle right down to our neighborhoods.
But you know, it's not just about trade deals and traditional economics anymore. There's a new player at the table, a real wild card that could change everything. Artificial intelligence. And it could fundamentally reshape the job market that our housing market relies on.
This comment really captures the anxiety a lot of people are feeling. And it's not just chatter. Big players like Redfin have pointed out that if AI stalls out the white-collar workforce, that could put a serious damper on housing demand. It's a real concern.
So with AI, we're looking at two sides of the same coin. On one side, yes, there is the threat of job displacement, which could mean fewer potential homebuyers. But on the other side, there is a massive opportunity. The Canadian government is betting big, really big, that AI could be a huge engine for productivity and economic growth.
And this is not just talk. We're talking about a clear national strategy backed by serious cash. $2 billion for computing power, hundreds of millions for startups and small businesses. And, this is key, money set aside specifically to help workers who are affected. The government is making a huge bet that the upside is going to be worth it.
Okay, we've looked at the continental economy, we've talked about the tech wildcard, now let's bring it right back home. What do the actual numbers tell us about the Toronto market right now? What's the reality on the ground?
So, let's start with the big one, the average price tag. As of this fall, it was sitting just under $957,000, and that's down 5% from the year before. That's not just a blip, it's a clear signal that the market has been cooling off.
Now, if you want to dig a little deeper, look at this number. The sales to new listings ratio was 38%. Basically, anything under 40% usually points to a buyer's market. What does that mean for you? It means there are more homes for sale than there are people buying them. It gives buyers more choice and, frankly, more power at the negotiating table. And hey, this cooling trend isn't just about where we live, it's also about where we work. The industrial real estate market, a really good pulse check on business activity, hit a 2-year high for vacancies. It's another piece of the puzzle that points to a broader economic slowdown.
But, and this is a really big but, even with a cooling market, you can't ignore the pressure of just living here. I mean, look at these numbers. For one person, just the basics, rent, food, transit, can easily run you thousands of dollars a month. So even if home prices soften a bit, overall affordability is still a huge challenge for a lot of people.
Now, the good news is the city isn't just sitting back and watching this unfold. They're actively trying to manage things.
They've got grant programs to create jobs, campaigns to support local businesses, and they're pushing hard on innovative solutions like modular housing to help with the supply problem.
So, we've looked at the economy, we've looked at the tech, we've looked at the local numbers. Let's pull all these threads together. What does this all mean for you and your plan for 2026?
When you boil it all down, there are really four big forces at play. First, our deep connection to the North American economy. Second, the massive disruption of AI, both the risk and the reward. Third, the reality on the ground right now, which looks like a buyer's market butting up against high living costs. And finally, the fact that our governments are actively trying to steer the ship. These are the things you've got to watch.
So the fog is starting to clear, right? You can now see past the frantic daily headlines and focus on the bigger currents that are shaping our future. The data, right now, suggests a window of opportunity for buyers. But as we've seen, there are huge economic and technological forces that are still writing the next chapter. So the real question isn't, what's the market going to do? It's, knowing all this, how are you going to position yourself to make the right move in 2026?